Hi, this is Ionnie McNeill, the Master Builder, helping you to build a stronger and better life and business. And again, we are very excited to bring you another My Investing story. We have a very special treat for you tonight because this young man is actually a friend. Yes, he is a better investing friend of Ionnie McNeill and myself. We're hosting this My Investing Story as Better Investing Volunteers. Actually, we're all three of us are Better Investing Volunteers. But he is a very special volunteer because I do believe that Mr. Johnson has probably volunteered more hours than almost any other volunteer that I can think of. But let's talk a little bit about who he is. Our special guest tonight is going to share their investing story is none other than our friend from the Atlanta chapter of Better Investing by the name of Mr. Howard Johnson. And he retired in 2010 after 34 years of working with the Georgia Department of Human Services. But he's married to his beautiful bride, Miss Jacqueline. Yes, Miss Jacqueline, I said that. A wonderful spirit. But equally as important, he's been involved with the Georgia chapter, and he's going to share a little bit more about better investing. And actually, they are so active, they have two chapters in Atlanta. That's very active. But right now, I'm going to talk a little bit about better investing. And for those of you that have been following us, you may know by now that Better Investing is a not for profit 501c3 organization that has helped over 5 million individual investors learn how to analyze stocks and how to invest, basically using investment principles that were created by the organization. And we do that with the software and educational tools, workshops, conferences, and many, many, many hours of volunteers serving. But why is this important to you? That's for you to decide. I like to share and always ask the question, what is the power of a $20 bill compounded once a month over 10, 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50 years? Think about that. And as we share with you Mr. Howard Johnson's story tonight, I want each of you to think about and let us hear from you. If you can communicate with us in the chat and let us hear from you any questions, comments, thoughts, suggestions. Maybe you don't agree. Let us hear from you. We'd also like for you to comment, like, and share the show with your family and friends. And right now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you my co pilot, my partner on this show, none other than Miss Ionnie McNeill, the baby billionaire. Hi, Ionnie.
Hello, hello, hello. Hmm. We ready?
Yes, ma'am, we're waiting on you.
Well, Mr. Johnson, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm
Good to
doing
see you.
well. Good to see you too. Can I call you Howard?
You most certainly can.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So, one of the very first questions that we like to always ask our special guests is, what was your or what is your first memory of money as a child? What was your relationship with money as a child growing up?
That's a very interesting question. Growing up, I don't think I had much of a relationship with money. not not that we were destitute, but we never had much money. We I guess up until probably middle school, uh, the only money transactions I had was during elementary school. The parents paid for our lunches in advance, so didn't have to do that. And I think in middle school, I think they started giving us the money to pay for lunches at school and things like that. But uh, other than that, wasn't a lot of money changing through my hands from uh, any kind of money earning thing I had going or anything like that. I started working in high school, and made money then, but up until then, in the younger years, it wasn't much of a relationship with money. And when I did start working, uh, my dad didn't give me much money advice, but my mom told me to save part of what I made, and my dad made me contribute part of the other part of the money to the household expenses. So it worked out good. It worked out good, but
Okay.
not much of a relationship in my early years.
Well, it seems like by the time you did begin to handle money, you were taking care of your needs. So whether it be
Yes.
school lunch, were you the type of kid to do some other things in school to try to get somebody else's lunch money, or not buy as much lunch as you want in order to keep some money?
No, I took pretty much advantage of the lunch opportunity.
Okay,
But
okay.
I didn't try to get anybody else's lunch money, anything like that. And I had a younger brother who did. He was a very enterprising young man and still is to this day.
Yeah, I was one of those ones that did stuff like that, which is why I asked.
He would take fruit that we had at home. He'd take it to school and sell it.
Hey, I mean, any way you could add to what your parents gave you and hold on a little longer. I mean, so I think sometimes those are the traits that we recognize in some of the kids that end up become better investors. So
Yes.
that's definitely why I asked. Now, how old were you when you were able to get that job and start saving and contributing to the household?
I was 16, and
Oh, wow.
I went to work with my father. Uh, he was a roofer, and he worked for a company, and I went to work with them during the summers of my high school years. And I guess that was right after uh, well, it was 15, right after my freshman year in high school. I worked the summers and Christmas holidays with him from my sophomore to my senior year in high school.
Okay. Well, how did you go from saving? And one question I have is, you followed your mom advice to start saving the money you were making when you did work, was from the summers or Christmas holidays. But how did you go from that to investing? When did you first find out about investing? And did you have any type of savings goals when you were 15, 16, 17?
Not really, there were specific kind of things that I would save for, like save money for the prom, or save money for a suit, or save money for a coat, or things like that. My parents provided the basics, but I remember one year I wanted to get a leather coat, and they weren't going to provide me with the leather coat. That was a luxury. So I had to save my money and purchase the leather coat for myself. So things like that, it was pretty much goal specific. When I got to college, I still worked during the summers with my dad. And at that point, it was saving up to buy a car. So that's kind of the route my savings took in the early years. Uh, Investing, I didn't know a thing about investing in my early years. Uh, Although I had that passbook savings account, I didn't consider that investing. That was just saving, and I don't even know what percentage it paid on the savings account. Usually, the money wasn't in there long enough to accrue much interest.
Exactly, exactly.
So I came to investing late in life, put it that way.
Do you mind to share how old you were when you first came into investing, and how did you hear about it? Was it something you read, overhearing a conversation? Was it at work?
This is interesting, and your mother knows the person who got me interested in investing, and that was my cousin, Cynthia McCrary. At the time, she was already on the Georgia board, and she was already in an investing club. Well, she had been in an investing club too, as a matter of fact. And she was starting a third club that she was going to be in, and invited me to join. And I think this was in the year 2000. So I guess I was about, what, 49 at the time. So that was my first exposure to investing the BI way. In college, I guess they had. I didn't major in business in college. I was a public administration major in graduate school. So we didn't have much exposure to investing, but that was kind of my entry into the BI world.
Now, that's interesting. Well, one, I want to say this publicly. Thank you so much for sharing your age, because there are so many people right now listening to us live, and then will be listening to us in the future, that if they're over 40, they are already thinking it's too late for me. So for you to have come into investing the BI way at 49, I think that that's very inspiring. How was your outlook when you came into better investing? And then the other thing I want to ask quickly, um, did you know about investing at all, even before that, or even a little bit? Because I know some people, they may hear about investing, or they may have tried their hand at it a little bit, and then 10, 15 years later, they feel more comfortable when they get introduced to better investing, and they're like, okay, I really start my journey here. So was BI the very first time?
BI was realistically the first time. I believe a friend of mine, a couple of years before that, I think probably about 1995 or so, approached me about joining an investment club, and uh, we just never reconnected. I saw him in a Home Depot, and we had a conversation there about an investment club, but we never did connect on it. We never did go any further than that. So that was my first exposure. And a couple of things I want to relate is that being a state employee, I had a very comfortable situation. Under my retirement plan, if I made the 34 years of employment with the state, my retirement was a defined benefit, and I would get 90% of my final salary for the rest of my life. So that gave me a false sense of comfort, knowing that my income would stay close to where I was when I was working. And then factoring in at a later point, starting to get Social Security. So I said that's comfortable. But what changed my mind was when I started thinking about my two sons and their future, and the possibility that Social Security might not be paying as much, and the fact that defined pension benefits were going to be a thing of the past. They were starting to in put those 401k plans and things like that.
Instead
And
of pensions,
right,
exactly.
and you were going to have to invest for your retirement and not depend on a pension. So that kind of changed my mind frame about the future and
Can
what
you,
it will
excuse
hold
me,
for
Howard,
them.
can you just repeat that, please? Because I want to make sure that people really heard that last part of what you said.
Yes, uh, the in our generation, a lot of companies, up north, a lot of people worked for the auto industry, and they had good defined pension plans for them, and the steel industry had good pension plans for them. But as companies became aware of the financial burden that was placing on them, how they had to contribute parts of their profit to those plans, they started pulling away from those guaranteed pension plans and started instituting these 401s where it was going to be dependent on the stock market. And if you weren't aware of what was going on with your money, you could end up being in a dire situation when it came time to retire. And one other thing I wanted to mention, when Ionnie was talking about my age when I got into investing, uh, my cousin and I visited a senior center, and we presented investing to them, and they had the same questions. I'm too old to invest. I said, what about your children? What about your grandchildren? You can start an investment account and make money and leave it to them. If you, and most people these days, if you're 75 or 80 years old, you still got a good 15 to 20 years. And the BI philosophy is to double your investment every 5 years. So where would you be in 15 years? Tomorrow is not promised to you, but nothing says you're going to leave here tomorrow either. So be optimistic and work toward that goal. You're going to leave everything to your grandchildren anyway.
That's true.
So just leave them a little bit more.
That's so.
And they formed an investment club.
In the senior citizen facility?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. That's empowering. That is empowering. Wow. So Ionnie was walking through that journey as you were bringing us up to where you are now. And I want to just encourage everyone that's listening to us and might have joined in a little late, after we started. And just want to let everybody know, if you are listening for the very first time and you're wondering who we're talking to, right now, our special guest tonight is Howard Johnson. And he is, and I think one of the guests just corrected me, is the Georgia chapter for Better Investing, not the Atlanta chapter. But as you can hear, Mr. Johnson joined Better Investing in 2000 and became a director in 2003. That was very quick. And so the 2000, when the Georgia chapter was chartered in 2012, Howard was included as a director, and he has only missed 2 national conventions since he attended his first one in 2003. He's currently a member of his family investment club. We're going to talk about that. And they started in 2013 as a member of the Central Georgia Model Investment Club. So we'll talk about that. But I just wanted to just let everybody know a little bit more about who our special guest is tonight. We also want to thank all of your supporters who have joined you here tonight, Mr. Howard Johnson, because again, that's a spirit of leadership. So thank you so much, and back to you, Ionnie.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, one of the things I wanted, and I'm glad that you elaborated on this and shared how you went to the senior living facility to share investing with with them, because I think that, and you can let me know, correct me if I'm wrong, but many people that I am working with or talking with that are 5, 10, 15 years away from retirement are having heart palpitations because of they feel like they've started late for retirement. But one of the things I don't think they really think about is actually having the confidence and be focused on a growth strategy while they're in retirement. I think sometimes we look at our retirement age as kind of that stopping and coasting point. Whereas when you don't keep in mind, you're going to be retired maybe 20, 30 years, then, you can easily run out of your money if you aren't concerned about investing while you are also retired. So can you talk about how you kind of kept that focus, or maybe even encourage some people that were nearing retirement to have that same type of perspective?
Yes, I want to preface this with the fact that I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm just going to talk about people I know and my personal experience. Right now, my portfolio is 100% stocks and equities. Uh, Financial advisors, I think, will advise you to, as you get closer to retirement or in retirement, to uh, adjust your allocation and put more of your portfolio into mutual funds and maybe bonds and things like that to guarantee the principal, to make sure that that money is going to be there. And the volatility sometimes of the stock market will scare people off. But if you look at the history of the stock market, it always recovers and it always going up. So if you have a long-term perspective, which you should have if you're investing, then your money is going to come back. You'll suffer a paper loss when the market goes down, but eventually you're going to gain it back. In the last, I guess, 3 or 4 years, we have seen days when the market dropped 800 points or even more, and people get scared and they'll drop out of the market. But then 2 or 3 days later, it's gained back 400 or 500 of those points, and they've lost that money because they dropped out of the market. So I try to point those kind of things out to them and tell them to take a long-term perspective. And one thing in retirement, you have to watch your withdrawal percentage so that you can make your money last. If you're going to take out 10% of your portfolio every year after retirement, that's only going to last you a little over 10 years, uh, even figuring in the growth factor. So you have to watch that withdrawal percentage and keep it down at a reasonable range, and just make sure you're able to cover your expenses and have some for pleasure or entertainment. But watch that withdrawal percentage so that you can preserve most of your portfolio. So those are the kind of things I try to point out.
And may I ask how old you are? Because you said that your portfolio is 100% in stock and equities, but I want people to get a sense of how old you are and how comfortable you are with your investment strategy.
I am 69 years young.
Wow. So really, you've been having joined Better Investing at age 49. You've been learning and growing in your investment education for the past 20 years.
Yes, right. 20
Okay,
years.
that's amazing. One of the things that you just made me realize is that um, quality quality investment education can provide a certain confidence in why you do what you do, why you make the certain um, buying and investing decisions that you make. Because, like you mentioned, um, based on your education and investment experience through BI, you are more comfortable with doing things your own way, and you have your own successful track record of your portfolio performance than quote unquote taking the advice of an advisor um, that will that is advising to the comforts of somebody that is not familiar with the market. Is that correct to say?
That is correct to say. That's absolutely correct.
Okay.
Uh, a lot of times when I'm teaching the stock selection guide, we go into a lot of analyst sentiment and what analysts are predicting. And I'm known for telling people that I pay very little attention to what the analysts say. Uh, I can read a annual report just as well as an analyst. I might not know all of the technical terms that they know and that verbiage that they know, but I can spot a 5 or 10% growth rate when I see it, and I kind of fly by my own wings. So
Right.
that's kind of my way. I don't do a lot of that. So uh, if I gain, it's on me. If I lose, it's on me, and I'm prepared to take the consequences. But
Wow.
it's gonna be on me.
Wow. Well, I'm actually loving every part of your story, and I'm going to read a comment from Facebook. Someone is saying, "Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for adding to my investment confidence and showing me that it's never too late to start." Uh, with that being said, the next question I actually have is about investing regularly. One of the four guiding and fundamental principles of better investing is invest regularly. So, how did you set yourself up to invest regularly when you started learning about investing and specifically learning how to invest the better investing way?
Well, it was a part of the investment club that I joined. You pay your regular monthly dues, and that was one of the tenets of better investing. So you take that to your personal portfolio. Whatever amount you can put in that personal portfolio every month, you try to maximize that just like you would in these 401k plans now, where the company matches what you put in. That's free money. So if you can, you put in the maximum amount and let the company match that. So my wife and I kind of looked at our budget and see what we could put in there every month, and we settled on that figure. And as the years went on, it grew and it grew, and you know
So are you saying that being a member of an investment club helped with your investing routine and just the regularity of being around investment education and learning and doing by investing?
being in an investment club was the absolute foundation for my personal investing. Like I said, I had only just been saving before I joined the investment club because of my comfort level with my retirement plan. I had done no investing before the age of 49. And when I joined that investment club, that's when the light bulb went off and I discovered this whole new world of the stock market and investing and so forth. So I credit two people with my story, and that's my cousin Cynthia and a director in the old Atlanta chapter, Billy Williams. Billy
Yeah.
Williams founded the old Atlanta chapter, and when I started going to chapter functions with my cousin, because she was a director already on the board, he kind of took me under his wing and brought me onto the board and taught me certain things about investing. So uh, that was my foundation.
Yeah, I just want to
Investment club and then the Georgia chapter.
Yeah, I just want to interject here, Ione and Howard, because you just hit on something that we're finding all across all of the chapters for better investing. It is that kind of spirit of service above self, if you will, in terms of how people just really embrace you. We've had lots of volunteers, investing volunteers to come on the show, and every single volunteer or member that's involved in their local chapter say the exact same thing. Now, do you find that to be true in your chapter also?
Yes.
That warmth and just, embrace in terms of willing to volunteer for new people that come in, or do you just get settled into who you are as a chapter and you don't embrace?
We try to embrace it. I think we've had some people who came on the board and they had a mistaken impression of how the board would work and they dropped off. But lately we've been having good success with our recruitment. And I think we need to formalize the training program a little bit more, but I think we open our new recruits and make them feel welcome and try to put them to work doing something that they're interested in. So that's important. But I think we open our arms and try to bring them in and incorporate them and make them feel at home and welcome.
Well,
Yeah, I think, go ahead. I think that's amazing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to just share a comment from Ann Newman. She said that Howard visited our club and did a great job. And I think at our 20th year anniversary, and that says a lot. But can you share with us a little bit more about your responsibility as a part of the Better Investing Volunteer? And then we'll come back to Ionnie with the balance of the story.
And this is gonna be a long story because I wear a lot of different hats with Better Investing. I'm a director with the Georgia chapter, and I'm currently on the Better Investing Volunteer Advisory Board as a director. And, that's our kind of a national governing board. On that board, I serve as the chair of the club support committee. And what we do is work with the chapters on interacting with the clubs that are in each individual chapter and try to strengthen that relationship between the chapter and the club. And I'm also a member of the online chapter. And this is something that was created about 2 years ago. And throughout the United States, there are a lot of investment clubs who are located not in proximity to a physical club. And to provide support to those clubs, we created the online chapter, and that chapter is responsible for interacting with those clubs who are not close to a physical chapter. It's virtually online, and there are, I think, about 800 clubs, and I think 3,000 members who make up the online chapter. I think those statistics are close, if not accurate.
Could you repeat those numbers for our listeners? So just to make sure. And Marshall and Michelle, if you can put that in the chat, 800
clubs, and I think about 3,000 members.
Wow.
And I'm just going to interject so people understand. The online model investment club uses, I guess, I learned this from Suzanne McNeill yesterday about the straw method, where you come together and you research the stocks, but you are investing, let's say, $1,000 a month, imaginary, but you go through the motions of investing regularly without people having to individually put real money in the club collectively, because it's inclusive. It's also international. So, you don't have to kind of dig through all of the legal work, but you still get the benefits of an investment club.
So it's more educational than what you say?
Yes, it's very much educational. And the other part of that restriction is due to tax implications, as far as people living in different states, and that club having to file taxes in all of the states that the member might be residents of. So that kind of prohibits the actual investing of real money, because that requires a lot of tax filings.
Yeah, Ionnie, back to you.
Yeah, so I mean, I know I didn't. I think he went through three different hats that you wear on both a chapter, a local chapter level, and I know you play a part in terms of regional management and then the BIVA board. I didn't. Were there any more hats that you wanted to list?
Well, see, I did left out the regional ones. Okay, let's go through the regional
I'm
ones.
taking notes.
I am what we call a region mentor, and in the South region, and we have maybe 6 or 7 mentors in the South region, and we mentor individual chapters. And I have 3 chapters that I am very proud to be the mentor for, and that's your own South Florida chapter, and then the North Florida chapter that I'm mentor for, and the South Carolina chapter that I'm mentor for. And out of those 6 or 7 regional mentors, I am the chair of that group. So I kind of coordinate the efforts of the other mentors in the South region, and we try to make things as easy for the chapters to participate as we can. And I have to give credit to another person, a recent mentor of mine, Bob who was the chair before me. And Bob set up a tremendous infrastructure for the South region. And he was innovating all over the place with different things. So I won't go into that in detail, but I'm following in some big footsteps there.
Well, when he recovers all the way, because he showed up on when Larry Reno was a guest, he showed up, it showed out. But we plan to have him next month. But I mean, I don't know how many decades younger I am under Bob, but I'm trying to catch up to Bob because he is an organizer extraordinaire.
Yes, he
And
is.
oh my gosh. I mean, he had led the way in online model investment clubs. I'm still trying to catch up to that. And just his organization with the educational events. And I mean, yeah, he's a great person to walk in the footsteps of.
And a great person to learn from.
Yes, yes, very much so. I had one question from Ann Newman, and I think she may have misunderstood when we talked about the online investment clubs. Um, what Howard Johnson just talked about was the online chapter that Better Investing created within the past couple years in order to service BI members that don't live near a live um, BI chapter. So in South Florida, for example, we meet in Fort Lauderdale. And so we get a lot of people from Miami, Dade County, Broward County, and Palm Beach County. However, the west coast of Florida does no longer has a chapter. New York no longer has a chapter. So in order to really serve them, some great volunteers from BI created the online chapter, which has all of their meetings. They have their own online model club um, online. Now that is of course different from any other investment club that also is online. You can decide, like our South Florida chapter model investment club. We just started. Our first meeting is going to be this Saturday. First public open meeting is going to be this Saturday. We are investing real money, but the online chapter that Howard is talking about, they are not investing real money. in order to keep learning about investing in a group setting simple, because members in that online chapter is from all over the world. And so, you know, in order to not have to deal with taxes and anything like that, they're doing, I forget the name that it's called, but it's like it's an alternative model investing club, which is just an investment club without real money.
Stock study group.
Stock study group, yes.
Yeah.
Stock study group, yeah. Another question we have in the chat is from Tori Roach. When is a good time to start investing?
Yesterday.
No matter the age, Howard, yesterday?
No matter the age. Yesterday, or as far back as you can go. If you can move some money
Ooh,
retroactively, put
do
it in
it.
the market back then. But and it's too late today because the market is closed. So
Right, right,
first thing
right.
tomorrow morning,
Get
go
to
to
work.
your brokerage firm of choice and open your account and fund it and get started.
I
And you can
think
do it online.
I think that's gonna be my new
Completely
answer.
online.
My new answer is yesterday.
Yep.
Well, that being said, we do want to today, and we're going to start. Today is our um, first session where we're going to start to feature one of the students that was a part of our stock market game. So, Howard, this is your first time hearing about this, but yours truly, Ione, and Bob Wynn, who you also know out of the Madison and Milwaukee, Wisconsin
Yes.
area, worked with 80 youth over the summer through the stock market game, which provided them an opportunity in groups of five. They each had their own team with adult advisors to manage and invest a portfolio of $100,000. And they had 10 weeks of a curriculum. Week by week, they learned about investing: what's a stock, what's a bond, what's a mutual fund, what's capital markets, and all of those intricacies. And we just finished 2 weeks ago, and last week we had our capstone event, and each of the teams was able to present what they learned, and it was a phenomenal experience. So we have one of our students on tonight, Tori Roach. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Well, join us if you want. You can turn your yeah. Um, could you talk to us about your experience with the stock market game?
Yes. It won't let me turn on my camera.
Okay. We can still hear you fine though.
Okay. So thank you, Mr. Johnson, for sharing your investment story. The stock market game has motivated me to start my own investment journey. I had a great experience with the stock market game. I learned more about stocks, bonds, trading, types of accounts, and I learned so much more. So the stock market game is a game that makes it easy for people of all ages to gain understanding in finances. So another piece of information that I learned this summer was about the mutual fund. So on that week, my group talked about it and discussed it with our advisor. And in addition to that conversation, I also spoke with Miss Ionnie, and that's another thing that I liked about the stock market game. I was able to network and meet experts with a financial background. And when I spoke with Miss Ionnie, she elaborated on what a mutual fund is, and she used a fantastic analogy. She said that a mutual fund is similar to a trail mix. So everybody's seen trail mix. My dad, he loves it so much. I don't know why, but there's a variety of snacks inside of trail mix, just as there's a variety of companies inside of a single mutual fund. So she also gave me this little piece of advice. If I were to invest in a mutual fund, I could look at the most successful companies and buy more shares in that company. And this made the concept of the mutual fund more digestible for students who are beginners when it comes to investing like me. And the stock market game has sparked my interest in finance. So since my dad, he's a stockbroker, he always talked about investing. But as the data entry coordinator for my group, I was able to experience firsthand what it's like to enter trades. So even like the other day, I found myself giving my dad financial advice, and I felt comfortable doing that because I learned more about entering trades and when to buy because of the stock market game. So I would definitely recommend this program to anyone who wants to learn more about the financial world.
Tori, how old are you?
I'm 16.
Awesome. Awesome. We want to ask everybody, let's give her, if you go down to the reactions, give her a clap, a thumbs up, or clap. Can everybody, and if you're on Facebook, then you give her a smiley face or a kudos or congratulations or something like that. If you are listening live on Facebook and if you are also in the chat. Thank you, Marquita. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you. All right, Ionnie, back to you.
Well, thank you so much, Tori. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. Would you be interested in participating in the stock market game again next year?
I would, and
Oh,
I feel like I'll be more skilled and I'll be able to, might even beat you next year. I don't know. Probably not.
that may not be hard to do. Okay, and before I let you go, what is well, actually two things before I let you go. What would be the one thing you think you would do differently in your investment strategy next year? And what is one thing you want to do throughout the year in order to stay engaged and continue to learn bit by bit? We know you're still in school, but what is kind of that thing that you think you could do throughout the year so that you could sharpen your skills before next summer?
So next year, I will definitely buy my stocks and bonds earlier in the program because we didn't start buying until like the third week. So I feel like if we would have started like the first week, then our income and our equity would have grown a lot faster. And throughout the year, I plan to open an investment account. And I can also, I'm thinking about joining the Better Investment Club so I can stay sharp on my skills. And then also watch any more YouTube videos and talk to my dad as well.
Well, that's excellent. We would love to have you in our South Florida Model Investment Club. Any model investment club that any BI chapter has, whether in your area or somewhere else, it's a model club because it's open to the public. So whether you're a BI member or not, you can always just check the Better Investing website, go to chapters, find the chapter you're interested in, find the date and time that you're interested in, and sit in on a meeting. So ours is, I know you're going to be one of my guests for this Saturday, so I'm excited to have you. But I do think that it is going to be really cool for you to continue in your investment education because as you heard from himself, Mr. Johnson, the time to start is yesterday. So, but the good thing is that even at 16, you have so much of a runway in front of you and learning from, Mr. Johnson and myself and Miss Ann and everybody else that's a guest on this show. You're going to be able to capitalize on the mistakes that we made and be able to catch some gems and hopefully retire early, hopefully have a life that is based on what you want, not based on what you don't have financially. So I wish and I hope the best for you. I'm so proud of you. You were a stellar student on your team. I
Thank
heard great
you.
things from your advisors about how you participated and how you stayed engaged. So that type of energy and excitement is really only going to benefit you. So, kudos to you. Congratulations on succeeding in the stock market game. And we look forward to keeping in touch with you.
Thank you.
Now, Ionnie, I have to say, I was going to ask her if she had any questions for Howard Johnson before she wraps up and before he wraps up. But then, of course, the grandfather of us all just came on, Mr. Bob Wynn. Now he knew I was going to call his name. He took his camera off. So,
I'll bring it back.
Okay, all right. So do you have Tori, any questions or additional comments for Mr. Howard Johnson before you wrap?
Let me think.
She did ask one already, but go ahead, ask another one, Tori.
Okay. So, do you have any advice that when it comes to investing?
My only advice is to keep doing what you're doing.
Okay.
You're on the right track. You know where to go to get the information, and just absorb as much of that information as you can. And the last thing is to put that information into practice. Those are techniques that you learn during the summer. Try to put those in practice. Try to invest regularly, no matter what the amount is. Just invest regularly. Reinvest your dividends and those kind of things, and just put it into practice and make it a habit. Make it a habit.
Thank you.
Yeah,
You're welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'd also like to bring Bob back, because before you go, Tori, if any words you'd like to share with Bob Wynn, who's the brains behind all of us, in terms of our involvement with this youth stock market game. And for many of us, and I think Howard Johnson would agree with this too, Bob really was and still is the forerunner for all of us as Blacks or African Americans or whatever you want to call us, as a part of Better Investing, better known by some as the National Association of Investors Corporation. And so, Bob, we don't tell you enough how much we really appreciate you, how much we love you, and how much we really thank you for all of the hard work that you do for so many. So I
Thank
just
you very
spotlighted
much.
your video so everybody could see you cruising in your backyard.
You can say I need to paint the railing, but
No, Bob. We don't see it really. All we see is you cruising in your backyard and really enjoying yourself. So, Tori, any words for
yeah, and I just tuned in, and so I was interested in just hearing what year Tori is, and just maybe a word or two about her experience with the stock market. It might be a little bit of a repeat, but I'm sorry about that.
Well, it's you, Bob. We can extend the show just for you. And Howard Johnson, you don't mind, do you?
Well, I don't.
I tuned in because I saw it was Howard, and I said I would get a chance to say hello. So this is fantastic. And, Ionnie and I are plotting and planning for next year, and we are looking at bringing in a few other cities into the fold of what we're doing. And obviously Atlanta is hot in our sight line. So Howard, we'll be in touch with you.
Certainly.
Okay.
Well, since Howard has such a broad reach, we're going to include all of Georgia for Howard. So
absolutely,
Georgia in the house, Florida in the house, and we'll pick up another state another year. So Tori, he wants to hear from you and your experience, your thoughts, please.
So I was saying that the stock market game sparked my interest in finances. And I think so I think from now on, I'm going to go open my investment account, invest and buy some stocks, probably some bonds too, do my research. And then I thought that it was a really great experience, and I want to come back next year as well.
That is fantastic. And we're actually laying some groundwork for helping people to get into those careers in high finance. And I actually talked today to Paige and Angela, and that's what we talked about, is being able to expose more young people to the wonderful opportunities that exist as professionals in the world of business investing and high finance. So Tori, I have to remember your name. And did you say what grade you're in right now?
Oh, so right now I'm an 11th grader.
Okay, fantastic. And what city are you in?
I'm in Cleveland, Ohio.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Okay, well, we'll certainly be in touch, and through Ionnie, I'll talk to her about what we have in mind. We're sort of creating some of this as we go. For one thing, a lot of great programs have always been in existence, including the programs and services that Better Investing has to offer. But my malcontent has been that we just don't reach enough people who need the services and the education. So, what we're trying to do is build out the rest of the system that has heretofore not been built out. Some of it would mean just bringing pre existing programs like Better Investing deeper into communities that have been underserved. But beyond that, we're going to create some programs that are very specific to serve the populations and communities that just don't have programs and services that they need to help individuals to really rise up to the level of their potential. And so a lot of people think that what we're doing is financial literacy or investment education, but we're really about the business of developing the potential in our young people. And it just so happens that we use financial literacy to a great degree to do that because it goes hand in hand with developing people to be successful and constructive in what is truly a capitalist system. It's a word that we just have to be willing to say because it really does exist, and we have to understand that the way capitalism works is that you're sort of like a consumer or producer, and this framework is set up in favor of producers. So we have to be entrepreneurs, and we have to be co-owners of businesses that really do dominate the economic well-being of us all. I could go on, but
Yes,
I'll leave
yes,
it right there. And
and
it's just always exciting to be in the midst of the McNeills and certainly Howard himself. And now Tori, you're getting ready to walk down the pathway and broaden it even wider than we have been able to because you're getting such a wonderful early start. And whoever has developed you up to this point, I hope after this Zoom call, you will thank them because I work with enough young people that when I just hear a snippet from that young person, it speaks volumes about their rearing and the people in their lives. You obviously have wonderful, wonderful guidance, love, and wonderful people in your life. It resonates from you.
yeah,
Yes,
I think I only
please,
second. I just want
please.
to ask people to join us, Bob, for your Youth Investment Club Facebook group, so we can all stay connected. So Tori, in the chat, if you'll join the group, and for all of you that are in the chat, and Michelle, if you can help us share Ionnie, let's let her share that.
It's in there already.
No. Share screen.
Oh, okay. Okay. She can do that on her own.
Okay, Michelle, if you can hear me. So Bob, what we're looking to do is to begin to populate with those students who are interested in joining that Facebook group, and then they can begin to dialogue among themselves.
Absolutely.
Everybody's not on Facebook. This is the Facebook group.
Mm-hmm.
It's a youth stock market game. And we'd like to ask all of you that's listening to us tonight, please join the group, and we can take this dialogue offline and continue the dialogue, during the week. So we all also have, we're part of the chapter Facebook group. The Georgia chapter has a Facebook group. And our chapter, South Florida, has one. Bob's chapter has one. So Michelle, if you can put that in the link in the chain, and Marshall, if you can also put it on Facebook, and then people can get these links later on. But I just wanted to just share that so that people who may be listening later this is, it's evergreen. The show is evergreen. So at what point in the future, please plan to join us. So back to you, Ionnie. Thank you.
So again, thank you, Tori. And going to Bob's point, Tori's father actually served as an advisor to one of our boys groups for the stock
Oh,
market game as well. So she not only did she participate, but her father participated. And Tori, tell your dad to get you a BI membership
that's
and
right.
to get, open up your Charles Schwab brokerage account so you can start
Okay.
investing. I'm sure he'll do both of those things for you.
Mhm.
So
Ionnie, you
again,
want to share with everybody the free membership that Better Investing has also?
sure. But let me say bye to Tori. Thank you, Tori.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Okay, we'll be
Nice
in
meeting you.
touch.
Nice meeting you. Bye.
Bye. So, yes, if you are on with us live right now, just check your chat. You'll get information about better investing. We've been talking about better investing all night with Howard Johnson, our guest. We have a free 90-day membership if you want to just try out the tools and get a feel for better investing. But even without a membership, please visit our chapters online. Go to chapters, find the chapter near you. Because of COVID, I'm sure all of us are having meetings online now. So you can definitely visit any of our model investing clubs this week, this Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The South Florida chapter is having their online investment club meeting, first public open meeting. And then I think North Florida is having their model investment club next week, Monday. So, Cincinnati is having theirs. So, just check out Better Investing and you'll be amazed with the information you find.
So if we have any other comments, questions, thoughts, if not, we want to say to you, Howard, how grateful we are and thankful that you were willing to come on and share. We didn't get to talk about the money, so we have anybody in the chat. You have any questions to Howard before we prepare to wrap up? And Ionnie, I'm not sure if you have a shout out this week to anybody that you'd like to give a shout out to. But as always, we always want to make sure we end with a challenge. And our challenge to each of you that's listening to us, regardless of when you're listening, is join Better Investing. It's a free membership. I think it's the best investment you can make of your time, talents, and treasure to check it out. Check us out and consider becoming a better investor for your family. And like Howard said, regardless of your age, you can do it for your children and your grandchildren and even great-grandchildren who are yet unborn. Because many of us, we also have family clubs. So we want to thank all of you for listening in. And are there any questions, Ionnie or Marshall, any questions from the chat for Howard or any of us before we plan to wrap up?
There are no questions in the chat.
Okay. All right, last words, Ionnie, from you.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. My new one is yesterday is when you should start.
I think you get a new one from each one of the broadcasts that you
I
do.
have,
You
Yes,
get
I
she
have
does.
to.
Yes, we must be watching. Yes, she
I
does.
used to say now is the time. Yesterday was the times. I love the impetus of yesterday because it is so true. So very true. So I'm gonna leave you with the last words.
Well, if I may, I'd like to give a shout out to my board members, fellow board members. I see several of them from the Georgia chapter who logged on, and
Please
I'd like to
shout
thank
them
them
out.
for
Shout
their.
them out by
Yeah,
name.
please call their names because you know how we are.
Well, I saw Ann Newman, Charles Lemon, Kyra Slack, Claire Redmond, of course, my love Cynthia McCrary, my cousin, and I think that was all that I saw. Uh, so I think that was it. Oh, yeah, I see it, Ann. I know Ann was the one that corrected you about the Georgia chapter and not
Yes,
Atlanta, because
yes,
she
yes.
was our first board member who lived outside of the Atlanta area.
Awesome.
And I know time is short, but I didn't get to talk about our family investment club. But if y'all do a future session on that, please invite me back, because that's something that I'm very proud of, to get all of my family members finally involved. Like I said, I started in 2000. And once I started working on everybody else. And it took me 13, 14 years. Cynthia and I, we worked on this together to finally get them interested in investing. And we formed that club, and we've been doing pretty good since then. So thank you, Ann and Ionnie, for letting me participate. I really enjoyed it, and be welcome to come back anytime. If you want me back, I'll be
No, we
agreeable to
want you
come
back.
back
You and the
anytime.
family club. We're gonna have you back, definitely.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with my mouth open because I totally agree. That's a show by itself. And Ione, there are a few family clubs we may want to consider doing a panel of family investment clubs, because I think of some of the famous clubs we don't talk about, but some family clubs have gone public on the New York Stock Exchange. And so it is a very powerful legacy to leave. And I am currently going through a branding change, if you will, as the master wealth builder. And so when you think about building wealth, and there's nothing better than building family wealth, I think that is hypocritical when we can talk to others about something we're not doing ourselves with our own.
And
Yes.
that's the name of our club, Wealth Builders Investment Group.
We're gonna have to
Wow.
have you. Yes. So
I
Ione,
be Howard, I'm always good for one more. So
Okay.
before your I want your closing comments to be this, because I got a private chat now. Now she didn't hear your praise because she joined a little late, but I got a request to say, tell Howard to tell how long, and I got to stress this, how long I had to work on him. And this is from your cousin, Cynthia
I know who
McCrae.
it's from. We we have a disagreement on that. She says she
As you put your
invited me.
hands on your hips right now, right?
Yep. She said she invited me to join her second investment club, which I have absolutely no recollection of. But when she brought up the third one in 2000, I immediately jumped on it. So I don't know why I would have ignored the first one and took her up on the second one. So I'm still sticking to my story that I have no recollection of that first invitation.
Well,
the beauty, the beauty is
I'm
that both of you are right. You're both right. She's right in her perspective because it's consciousness, and you're right in your perspective.
well, I do just want to say I had to ask that question because I have a really good friend that's on here now, and
Uh-huh.
her cousin invited her, and for whatever reason, she joined BI. She dragged her feet a little bit, and I would say about 6 months until she then became active. So the reason I think that that was so important is because the time between us first hearing about investing in BI to the time we actually do something about it is a lot of times, a long time. And with
Yep.
what you just said is you should have started yesterday. I think people need to know, as soon as you hear about better investing, you need to try it out ASAP, because you would only be kicking yourself in the butt when you start to reap the benefits. And then you go back and say, dang, I waited 3 months, 5 years, 10 years. But hey,
I have two brothers who are in my family club, and you ought to hear the other two talking about the time they've wasted not being in investing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
So
that's why we want to bring you back and have them come back with you on the program, because I think it's going to be very empowering to have a family talk about their experience and really encourage other families and start right where you are. Everybody starts at the same place. And that is a place wherever they are. There's no right or wrong. You know, it's rich or poor. It's wherever you are. So just start right where you are.
And just to let everybody know, we have that third and the fourth generation involved.
Wow. Yeah, we're gonna have you back soon. We're gonna have the whole crew back. Well, whew, thank you so much, Mr. Johnson. It's always a pleasure. I know I call you as a vice president of my chapter when we need some help, but learning and hearing from your story was amazing um, this evening. So thank you so much for your time and accepting the invitation and you know just all the work and the service and the volunteering that you do,
Y'all
not
know I
just to
love
better your
y'all.
family, but all of BI. And we love you too, man.
We
We
go
love
way
you.
back. I was kind of jealous when I came to your education event a couple of years ago, and
Uh-huh.
Phil Keaton claimed you as his protege.
Oh,
I said, I thought she belonged to me.
well, only a few people know that I'm enough to go around because so many of you all have just raised me. I mean, you,
That's correct.
Phil, Ellis Traub, David Traub, Dr. Barbara Cobb, Irvin
Uncle
Ross.
Bob, now come
Oh,
on.
Uncle Bob Wood. I mean, yeah, the list goes on, but you all have definitely played a part. And yeah, getting me started. When I was Tori's age, when I was younger than Tori, and
Yep,
just keeping me engaged in BI. And I mean, I know I've benefited tremendously, and the love I received and the encouragement and um, the education and the engagement. Because I remember being in classes and I was being a kid and I was asking questions and no
that's
adults
right.
was asking
10 and
questions
11 years old. 10 and 11 years old. So I want to
And
and
encourage
and
all.
I was always encouraged to do so. And you all helped me learn the SSG and helped me, buy my first shares of stock through the direct stock purchase plan from the BI
that's right.
magazine, all of that.
And Bob, you are the godfather.
Yes,
I
you.
think Ann might have said
I appreciate that.
grandfather. You
Uh-huh.
are the godfather
I
of
appreciate it.
like-minded investors.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to be the OG for the
Ooh,
young investors.
There you go. There you
You've
go.
been knighted. You've been knighted
He
as the OG, Bob.
Yeah.
and he's updated the title from Godfather to OG.
OG.
oh,
Yeah.
OG for BI. The OG for BI.
Yeah, I like that. I just heard from Ken today, by the way, Ione.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
So Ione, are you going to tell everybody about the big announcement, or is that
No, no, not yet, not yet. We're not ready for that. Let's close out. We
oh,
we taking this. We taking this one home.
oh. All right. Well, anyway, so any other closing words, Howard or Ione, before we wrap up? Because we had a wonderful show. And every
just
time we say the same thing, it's always better.
just thank you.
And
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for all the hours, countless hours that you've put in. And we also want to say a special thanks to your board that came out to support you tonight. Because as we can all see, when we can see it, we can be it. And there's so many people who, regardless of race, creed, or color, um, really would love to learn how to invest. And they're looking to us. That's why we started this My Investing Story podcast, so that we could reach people that are sometimes unreachable. Because when we talk about investing, we talk at such a level that we can't, we don't really relate to people where they are. And so that's why, and as Ione always start her questions in the program off by asking your first memory and relationship to money. And so Ione and our story was very simple and similar in that broke, and that's where we started. So when people see you and they see us, they don't see the us 20, 30, 40 years ago. And so we want to really bring this information down to a level that anybody can reach it. We'll make sure we put our contact information in the chat if you want to reach out to us. Like Ionnie said, we're all BetterInvesting Volunteers. You can reach out to betterinvesting.org. You can leave a message there. We all have Facebook groups for Better Investing for the Georgia chapter and also for South Florida. You can reach us also through our Facebook group. All right. And then if you're interested in the the youth stock market game, you can reach out to the link that we've already shared on Facebook and inside the chat. And with that, all minds and hearts are clear, like they tell us in that other place. We want to thank all of you, and we will see you. We'll see you next week. All right. Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.